The sudden explosion of a sun behind a thick veil of clouds sent a jolt of energy through me, a momentary burst of light in the perpetual twilight I had come to know. For a brief instant, the icy blue landscape surrounding Niron's starbase shimmered with possibilities, and I was reminded of the world before the fall, before we lost everything that mattered. But that reminder was soon swallowed by the shadowed ruins of what had once been a thriving civilization, now a mere skeleton of its former glory. A deep rumble reverberated beneath my feet, pulling me back to the present. The ground beneath me shifted, a dull, familiar fear igniting in the pit of my stomach. I barely had time to pull my weapon, a sleek plasma charger, before the beasts emerged from the shadows of the crumbled edifices. Long, sinewy arms and ravenous eyes reflected the brief bursts of faltering light. Feral creatures, remnants of a twisted genetic experiment gone awry, were once humans like us, twisted and stripped of sanity. I fired first. My heart raced, not just from the adrenaline, but from the memories of why I was here, to uncover the lost legacy of the Selthorians, the bravest civilization in history. They had once stood tall against the cosmos while we wallowed in ignorance. But the more I uncovered, the more tangled the threads of their story became. A screech from my left snapped me into action. I aimed again, pulling the trigger as another beast lunged towards me. The plasma bolt hit its bulk, sending it sprawling against the cracked ground, but there was no time to celebrate my fleeting victory. A second monster charged forward, grunting and wheezing with grotesque intensity, its blood-streaked appendages reaching out in desperation. Paradise, watch out! Yara's voice, a lifeline in the storm, cut through the chaos, trembling but clear. I turned just in time to see the creature's claws swipe through the air, narrowly missing my skin. The stench of decay filled my nostrils as I retaliated, and the familiar taste of fear coated my tongue. Violence and survival had become second nature in the time of the lost legacy. But even as I fought, thoughts of choosing between the legacy we sought and the friends I held dear danced in my mind. Yara believed in this mission. Darrow, on the other hand, would just as soon abandon it for his own gain. Yara, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady, can you cover me? I need to move to the ridge to get a clearer shot. Don't tell me what to do. She shot back, her eyes narrowing as she blasted the beast approaching me, its body contorting in midair before collapsing in a twitching heap. Although her words stung, they masked an underlying bond built on shared pain and endless conflict. You always think you're the hero. With my next shot landing true, I lunged toward the ridge, my pulse pounding in sync with the chaos erupting around us. Dead Selthorian technology peeked through the ice, covered rubble beneath our feet, glowing veins of light that pulsed with ancient energy, remnants of a once great civilization's achievements. I skidded to a halt, tried to catch my breath, and glanced back at Yara, her green energy blasts mixing with the flashes of my plasma to create a disorienting kaleidoscope of colors against the bleak landscape. My heart sank, knowing our uncompromising feud and the darker truths that laid unearthed in the Selthorian echoes were now a burden we bore together. Darrow had his own agenda. He would stop at nothing to seize the power contained in the ancient tech we fought to protect. But Yara's loyalty made her a wild card. Why do you keep fighting for them, Paradise? Darrow's sneer cut through my thoughts as he caught up with me on the ridge, his own weapon gleaming with a deadly promise. They're dead. Their legacy should have died with them. The real power lies in what we can forge anew. I wanted to scream at him, to tell him he didn't understand the value of history. But the urgent snarls of the creatures below drowned my voice, reminding me we were surrounded. I set my jaw, my resolve strengthening. We need to finish this, Darrow. Our way is to honor them, or we'll become them. Before he could respond, I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. A flicker of movement against the stone wall behind us, a structure untouched by time. The moment hung suspended in the air, full of implications. An entrance, perhaps, offering a path toward the true legacy of the Selthorian civilization. The larger beasts, now aware of our presence, veered toward us with alarming speed, and I frantically waved my hand toward what might hold the key to salvation. Over there. If we can reach that entrance, we might just turn the tide. Our chance is evaporating with each passing second. I bolted toward the shimmering light emanating from behind a twisted archway carved into the ice. Behind me, Yara and Darrow's voices echoed, their own skirmishes still alive, while the predatory snarls intensified, drowning my heart in the bitter knowledge that whatever power we sought was all but buried in this deadly world. What had I sacrificed for knowledge? Would it prove worth it in the face of this monstrous awakening? Keep close, I shouted as I exchanged glances with both of them, knowing our fragile bonds were the only thing standing between life and oblivion. Each step brought me closer to answers, or perhaps the very history that would seal our fates. The entrance loomed ahead, a gaping maw in the ice-covered wall. As I dashed toward it, my throat tight with a cocktail of fear and exhilaration, I felt like we were running not just from the beasts, but from our own darkness, guilt, and ambition. The fleeting shafts of Selthorian technology glowed ominously around us, hinting at mysteries lost to time. A paradise, Yara's shout pulled me momentarily from my thoughts. Get in. She shoved me through the entryway just as a beast lunged forward, its savage jaws snapping inches from my back. I stumbled into the frigid darkness, catching myself against a smooth, metallic wall. The sound of Yara's voice, mixed with Darrow's more measured one, filled the air as they followed closely behind. The interior was unlike anything I had seen before. Walls glimmered with shifting colors, pulsing light as if alive, bathing the chamber in hues that made the grime of the outside world seem mundane and lifeless. Oversized motifs of the Selthorian emblem twisted mysteriously across the surfaces, echoing tales of their glory. This place was sacred, a hidden vault filled with the hopes and dreams of a civilization that mysteriously vanished yet somehow lingered in the very air we breathed. "What is this place?" Yara whispered, her voice barely louder than a sigh, all mingled with apprehension. "How do we even begin to understand?" Darrow added, his earlier bravado replaced by sincere curiosity. He glided along the walls, running his fingers over the shifting light, soaking in the energy that spiraled through the atmosphere like a forgotten memory begging to be remembered. My heart raced. "It's a repository," I murmured, trying to keep my voice steady. This must be where they stored their knowledge, their technology, their advancements, everything they were working on before the fall. As I stepped deeper into the chamber, I noticed a pedestal in the center. Atop it sat a crystalline orb, pulsating with the radiant glow of a captured star. It called to me, unearthing something primal within. My fingers tingled as I reached out. "Wait," Yara cautioned, her tone sharpening. "What if it's a trap?" I hesitated, the orb humming as if it possessed a heartbeat much like my own. "What if it gives us the answers we need?" I countered, knowing the weight of my words. This was our mission, to unearth the truth behind the Selthorian legacy. Darrow squinted at the orb, his brow furrowed in concentration. Could it be a power source, something that can grant us control? His voice dripped with temptation, revealing a chasm of conflict embedded within his ambition. "No," I replied, shaking my head vehemently. "It's more than that. It's a record, a memory." I could feel its pull resonating deep inside me. The weight of centuries pressed upon my consciousness. If we activate it, it might reveal their secrets, but it's dangerous. Dangerous, Darrow scoffed, eyeing the orb like a hunter assessing his prey. "Everything is dangerous, Paradise. We're on the brink of turning our lives around. Do not you want to know the truth of what really happened? The lost legacy is more than just a relic. It could give us power over our fate." "Power," Yara echoed, the word sliding off her tongue with a trace of caution. "Or it could destroy us." The tension in the air crackled as I looked back and forth between them. The very decision we faced felt monumental, reverberating with layers of history and future ramifications. What was the true cost of knowledge? "We can't just stand here," I shouted, frustration bubbling. "We risked everything to find this place. If there's a chance to understand why the Selthorians fell and how we can avoid their fate, we have to take it. We owe it to ourselves, and to them. But at what price? Darrow countered, an edge of desperation creeping into his voice. What if we unleash something we can't control? It's one thing to seek knowledge and another entirely to become its prisoner. Against the backdrop of our heated debate, the orb flickered, responding to our tension, its aura intensifying like a storm brewing beyond the horizon. My heart raced as it beckoned, tempting me with the promise of revelation or ruin. "Listen," I said, taking a deep breath, willing myself to stay calm. "We can approach this together. Yara, you're the attunement expert. If anyone can gauge its energy, it's you. Darrow, you gather information. Let's figure it out before proceeding further. We unify our strengths." Yara stepped closer, her eyes glinting with intelligence, the fear in her gaze tempered by resolve. "Agreed. I'll draw on what I can from the energy. If it feels hostile, we'll stop." Darrow's expression shifted from skepticism to contemplation. He nodded, albeit begrudgingly. "Fine, but Paradise, if it becomes a threat, I promise, we'll retreat." I interrupted, intensely aware of the razor thin line we walked between enlightenment and potential doom. As Yara approached the orb, sparks of energy illuminated her figure, casting swirling shadows across her face. She pressed her palm to the surface, and a jolt of light burst forth, enveloping her in warmth. The colors intensified, coalescing into a vision, a kaleidoscope of Selthorian images flickering against the walls around us. It unveiled scenes of magnificent cities pulsating with life, technology woven seamlessly into nature, soaring vessels navigating the cosmos. Joyful celebrations and communal harmony unfolded, praising the efforts of a society that seemed harmoniously united. Before everything changed, visions shifted to chaotic conflict. Swirling storm clouds, the ground shaking violently, flashes of devastation as creatures, twisted from humankind, encroaching and devouring life, rose from the depths. Disjointed but hauntingly familiar faces blurred together, the struggles of the Selthorian people echoing deep into my soul. "What does this mean?" I gasped, heart racing as images cascaded through me. "Signs of a civilization torn apart," Yara replied, eyes locked on the spectacle of history intertwining with doom. "We need to understand the moment that caused the turn. That's the key. Was it internal or external? A betrayal, perhaps," Darrow speculated, brow furrowed. "Something lurking in their own ranks, a division." The orb continued to pulsate, and as I approached it, I noticed a tiny silhouette emerging from the storm, a figure looming over the chaos. My heart stopped. It was me. As if the orb had spilled its secrets, flashes of thoughts rushed in. A future where I stood amidst shadows, surrounded by people I didn't recognize. The betrayal was not only Selthorian, but also roots entwining around my own emerging choices. I could see my alliance with Yara and the undercurrents of Darrow's ambition. My breath hitched as realization dawned. Decisions made today would ripple through the interconnected strands of fate. Paradise, Yara's voice brought me back, concern etched into her features. "What do you see?" I stammered, fumbling with words. "I think we must decide how we proceed. There's a connection to our own choices." But as the light brightened, it twisted, recalling memories of the creatures from the outside, their savage hunger intertwined with Selthorian downfall. I stumbled backward, shock coursing through me. Whatever happened here, it could happen again. "We have to be careful." The light dimmed abruptly, and the orb shattered, deflating as its energy released, plunging us back into darkness. A resounding silence enveloped us, pulsing energy extinguished, replaced by a chilling void that quickly filled with ominous growls. It couldn't end here. "They're still out there," I yelled, panic surging through me. "We can't stay. We must find another exit." "What's outside?" Darrow questioned, cautiously scanning the darkened passage looming ahead. "The creatures," Yara breathed, her voice trembling. "They'll follow us inside. We have to get moving." With the remnants of revelation swirling in my mind, the severity of our situation hit like a tidal wave. Clasping my weapon, I rallied my resolve. This could be our moment of truth together or apart. The choices we made echoed far beyond this chamber. "Let's go," I commanded as I led the charge down a narrow corridor, our footsteps echoing in a haunting cadence. And with each desperate step, I could not shake the unsettling feeling that the Selthorian legacy was not merely a choice between knowledge and ignorance. It was one that intertwined our lives, a promise, a burden that hinged on trust. We plunged into the darkness beyond that pulse of history, unaware of what awaited, but conscious that our very fates rested not just in the shadows of the past, but in the choices we would soon forge anew. The echo of our hurried footsteps rang off the corridor walls, a chilling reminder of how closely we were being pursued. I could feel the oppressive weight of the darkness at our backs as we plunged deeper into the bowels of the Selthorian vault, adrenaline pulsing through my veins like the glowing systems we sought to unlock. Darrow took the lead, his ever-pragmatic nature taking hold as he sought paths that might offer solace from the chaos rumbling above, an instinct born of predator and prey. I stole a glance at Yara, who kept her distance behind me, the frown etched on her brow, a sign of the conflict brewing internally. The shared trauma of our encounter with the shadows outside weighed heavy on us. Did she still believe the knowledge we uncovered could lead us to redemption, or had the revelation of our own potential for destruction shifted her views? "Paradise," Darrow said suddenly, his voice strained, cutting through my turbulent thoughts. "This way." He motioned toward an alcove that had been partially obscured by fallen debris. I hesitated for a heartbeat, glancing back to see the gleaming eyes of the monsters now dancing erratically through the shimmering crystal light of the hallway, their grotesque forms prowling hungrily in our direction. I nodded resolutely and bolted toward him, Yara following closely behind. As we ducked into the alcove, the frigid air wrapped around us, transforming our warmth into fog. The corridor beyond faded into darkness, and the monster's guttural snarls dimmed, allowing a veil of silence to envelop us. We pressed deeper into the shadows, inhaling the stale air laced with the hints of electric energy that still hummed softly from the Selthorian technology. "What now?" Yara whispered, her breath escaping in wisps. "We can't just wait here." "I think we need to regroup and figure out our next move," Darrow said, his eyes narrowed as he scanned the confined space. "We don't know what else lurks in these ruins." Yara shifted uncomfortably, a weighty silence stretching between us. What had once been camaraderie now felt fraught with unspoken concerns. If we move forward, we risk being thrown into the same cycle of chaos we were just part of, she murmured, her gaze searching mine. "You'll believe me, I don't want to find myself face to face with those things again," I replied, my voice taut. "But if we're going to make a difference and solve this mystery, we can't let fear dictate our next steps." Darrow nodded, eyes twinkling with determination. "We've seen glimpses of what the Selthorians were capable of. We just have to make sure we don't repeat their mistakes." The tremor in his voice echoed my own wavering confidence, but the burden of bearing our collective goals pressed firmly against my chest. This wasn't just about uncovering dark truths anymore. It was also about preventing our own aspirations from twisting into nightmares. Suddenly, without warning, a rumble rolled through the ruins, resonating from the depths of the vault like a distant thunderstorm. The walls reverberated, and dust fell from the ceilings above, swirling in the air like lost memories. Yara's eyes widened. "What was that? Are they getting closer?" "Maybe," Darrow responded, fidgeting with his plasma charger. "Or perhaps we've triggered something deeper within the vault." And just like that, an unsettling realization washed over me. We weren't just escaping the monsters of the surface. We were also delving deeper into a hidden world that may be awakening long buried horrors. "We should take shelter farther in," I suggested, already moving deeper into the alcove's recesses. "Hiding from the chaos above isn't enough. We need information." The corridor opened into a vast chamber ahead, illuminated by a dim blue light. We stepped cautiously into the space, the air thick with stasis. In the center stood a colossal interface smoky glass towering above us, shimmering with enigmatic symbols and constantly shifting patterns. I stepped forward, drawn by the mesmerizing whirlwind of colors. "This must be another repository," I murmured, awestruck. "A record of the Selthorian knowledge." Yara joined me in contemplation, her fears merging with hope. "Do you think it holds answers to what we're searching for?" "I think it's our best chance," I replied. "If we can access its data, we might discover how the Selthorians fell, and maybe we can find a way to prevent the same fate from befalling us." Darrow remained at the entrance, his brow furrowing deeper, eyes flitting between us and the mesmerizing interface. "Careful, Paradise. We need to tread lightly. What if this place reacts to our presence?" But before I could respond, the interface pulsed and the symbols began to coalesce into familiar figures. Visions flickered to life before us, and I found myself entranced by the images of the past. The air crackled with anticipation as scenes of Selthorian leaders appeared, surrounded by technology beyond our comprehension. They were afraid, I breathed, recalling the fear radiating from them, echoing the very emotion rumbling within me. Each of them, split by ideologies, clashing beliefs about how to wield their legacies. The preservation of knowledge quickly became a weapon. The interface glowed brighter, and details crystallized. Creatures, almost forgotten, emerged at the forefront, their images twisting violently as Selthorian figures collapsed into chaos. The reminders that our own ambitions mirrored theirs gripped my heart with cold certainty. "We must not become the monsters," Yara whispered, realizing the weight of the consequence looming over us. Yet in that fraught moment of uncertainty, the images intensified, a glimmer of hope breaking through the fear. I stepped closer, reaching out to touch the shimmering surface. The interface responded, filtering my thoughts and memories alongside the vibrant stream of Selthorian knowledge. Closer, I peered into the depths of their history, watching the birth of inventions that could reshape worlds and the decisions that spiraled downward into darkness. A low hum vibrated through my fingertips, pulsing up my arm as a flood of understanding washed over me. Alive with energy, the interface unveiled visions embedded within its depths. An account of a council where the leaders fought to control a newfound power, ultimately manipulated by the very technology they revered. Then everything snapped back. The images fractured, erupting into shadows that engulfed the leaders entirely, swallowed by the madness in the heart of their achievements. "It's a warning," I gasped, falling backward. My heart raced as I glanced over at Yara and Darrow. "The caution against the path we tread." "Then we can't just retrieve knowledge. We must understand the consequences," Yara exclaimed, breathless. "If we wield this information carelessly, we'll be responsible for our own destruction." "We have to find a way to control it," Darrow interjected, panic underscoring his voice. "To prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, the creatures or us," I murmured, realizing he was right. The very legacy we sought could easily become our undoing, but the ramifications didn't stop there. As I looked back toward the interface, echoes of memories flickered within. I saw snippets of ourselves battling against the shadows, driven not by an overwhelming desire for power but by desperation. And in those moments, blurred emotions flared like a siren, pulling me deeper into understanding. "We can't repeat their mistakes," I insisted, focusing on Darrow. "We need to make our decisions clear. The Selthorians weren't wrong to seek knowledge, they were wrong to let it manipulate them." Yara nodded slowly, her gaze unwavering. "For every piece of information we uncover, we must ask, what are the implications? How will it impact our world and the legacies we wish to forge?" The intensity of our discussion surged as the hum of the interface amplified, words forming amidst flowing colors, a mantra reverberating through the air that faded into empty echoes. It seized me briefly, an unrelenting grip on my consciousness, and as I fought to maintain focus, my resolve solidified. Let's find a way to merge our paths, to learn and adapt, rather than just reach for the power without weighing the consequences. Just then, a sudden tremor erupted, sending vibrations through the chamber, breaking the tenuous tension we had created. From the mouth of the corridor, a dissonant roar echoed, combining the unfamiliar and the malevolent. "The creatures!" Darrow shouted, gripping the hilt of his weapon tightly. "We must prepare to defend ourselves." Yara reached for her energy weapon as I steeled my resolve, taking a steady breath to quell my racing heart. Whatever lies ahead, we stand united as we face the truths we've uncovered. The Selthorian legacy, it's a mirror reflecting back everything we are and everything we might become. Together, we decide what that legacy means. With newfound conviction, I stepped forward, prepared to confront whatever waited. It wouldn't just be remnants of cruel history. It would be a test of our commitment to forge our fate. As the shrieks of creatures resonated through the vault, I steadied my call against the encroaching darkness. Let's go. We face whatever comes next together. The three of us advanced with our eyes alight, knowing the trepidation ahead would either be our downfall or our awakening. United by chaos and purpose, we braced ourselves for the challenges that awaited in our endeavor to rewrite our own legacy. The roar echoed ominously through the chamber, a bone-chilling sound that sent tremors coursing through my body. I gripped my plasma charger tighter, feeling its familiar contours steadied my racing heart. Darrow and Yara mirrored my intensity, weapons at the ready, each poised for the inevitable confrontation that loomed. The entrance to the corridor darkened, shadows writhing as they approached, threatening to devour not just light, but hope itself. I could sense a vile intelligence behind the dissonant growls. These creatures were not merely beasts. They were the embodiment of a civilization broken by desperation. They had once been us. We have to determine their weaknesses. I whispered urgently, eyes scanning the faint light that flickered off the chamber's surfaces. If they were Selthorian, they might share some vulnerabilities tied to their technology or the ruins. Darrow nodded, brow furrowed with resolve. We must exploit our advantage. They're still the remnants of a once great civilization. If we can resonate with the energy here, we might be able to command some aspect of our surroundings. With each breath, anticipation merged with dread, leaving me tight, lipped and ready. I could feel the fractured bond between the Selthorians and their past wrap around us, filling the air with an electric hum, our fates entwined with shattered legacy. The first figure emerged from the shadows, a hulking silhouette illuminated by the flickering lights. It lumbered toward us, its grotesque form defined by jagged limbs and glistening, matted fur. I fought the instinct to recoil, forcing myself to stand firm. "Now," I shouted, and we unleashed our weapons simultaneously. Yara's blasts of energy lit the room in brilliant bursts, illuminating the creature's disfigured features. My plasma bolts hit the target, vibrant blue flashes slicing through the darkness. An unholy scream erupted as our attacks forced the creature back. But it wasn't enough. Two more forms darted ferociously into view, their claws sharp and intentions clear. Darrow's face was set with grit as he focused on a second creature, its eyes glinting hungrily in the blue glow. "Keep moving. We can't let them surround us." His cries echoed through the chaos, a lighthouse amid the storm. We needed a strategy or risk being overrun. I darted to the side, aiming a shot toward the chamber's edge. The burst of energy struck a crystalline column, scattering fragments in a kaleidoscope of light. The beasts hesitated, momentarily startled by the eruption, and I seized the moment to guide Yara toward the interface that had beckoned us moments ago. "Can you connect to it again?" I urged, urgency propelling my words. "We need its energy." Panic flickered briefly in her eyes but was swiftly replaced by determination. "I can try. If it worked before, I might be able to link with it once more." She sprinted toward the interface as I held my ground. Darrow and I exchanged a glance, quickly forging an unspoken pact to protect her at all costs. As Yara reached the interface, she pressed her palm firmly against the surface. The interface surged to life, radiant colors spiraling, as it seemed to resonate with Yara's presence. The room pulsated with energy, and the air thickened with the vibrations of the past. Memories and histories tore through the fabric of the present. "Keep them back," Yara shouted, her focus unwavering, fingers dancing across the shifting symbols that came alive at her touch. The beasts regained composure and charged forward, their ferocity blind to the shimmering light that enveloped Yara, the last vestige of hope in the chaos. Darrow and I stood side by side, weapons aimed at a world on the brink of implosion. "We can't let them through," I yelled, my voice raw with desperation. I fired a shot that grazed the shoulder of one creature, drawing its attention, forcing it to turn sharply in my direction. Darrow followed suit, directing his energy blasts with precision as we created a barrier of light igniting the shadows. The creature stumbled, momentarily stunned, but another joined the fray with harrowing speed, claws ripping toward us. We exchanged breaths just before pivoting to the left, narrowly avoiding the onslaught. "Yara," I called out, my heart pounding against my ribcage. "Are you getting anything?" "Almost there." The beads of sweat glimmered on her brow as she fought against the storm of chaos rapidly encroaching on us. "Just hold them off." The third creature lunged at Darrow, and before I could react, he maneuvered deftly, managing to shoot it down with an impressive blast that reverberated against the walls. But the victory was short. Lived the first beast, regaining its footing, quickly advanced toward us. With purpose distilled into action, I stepped forward, adrenaline coursing as I prepared to strike. I aimed for the creature's head, focused not on brute force, but on biding my time, waiting for the right moment to restore balance to this world fraught with remnants of what had been. And now, I whispered as Yara activated a shimmer of energy from the interface, cascading its power through the chamber. The light erupted forth, expanding outward with a bittersweet melody of hope. The pulse of Solthorian technology thrummed alive, enveloping us. The creature halted, eyes bewildered as the light oscillated and refracted through its darkened memories. "Paradise," Yara shouted. "It's working. Just hold it." In a heartbeat, the energy coalesced into tendrils, wrapping around the creature, an unshackling of the chaos that had long trapped it. The echoes of past voices emerged, whispers of memories lacing through our air. Solthorians who once belonged to the same forces that now faced off against us. The creature writhed, confusion mingling with voices rising like a symphony. It recoiled, but Darrow, ever the opportunist, shouted, "This might just be our way to communicate. We have to see if we can reach it." Suddenly, the creature turned. Its eyes gleamed with an unsettling understanding. I steadied my breath, willing my thoughts into the torrent of energy connecting us to it. "What happened to you?" My voice emerged, rising through the chaos. "What caused your fall?" The tendrils of energy seemed to pulse and shift, creating a shimmering screen before us, revealing flashes of the Solthorian past tragedies, armor forged into weapons, a fracturing society, their ambition turning inward, tearing at the bonds they believed fortified them. The shadow of betrayal stretched ominously. Yara's voice broke through. "It's afraid, it knows what it's become." "Yes," I urged, "we must push further. We need to understand the betrayal that led to this." The creature locked its gaze with mine, and in that instant, I felt an agonizing dissonance, a reflection of our own fragility. The images intensified, depicting the Solthorian leaders divided into factions, trusted friendships twisted into enmity. I witnessed the rise of darkness, how fear led to the creation of the beasts that now stood before us, monstrous remnants of those who had been utterly consumed. Betrayed, the creature howled suddenly, its voice a guttural cacophony mirroring our own haunted pasts. "We are more than just our past," I implored, feeling the hope swirling within. "We can change. We came here looking for knowledge, not to destroy." The creature hesitated, the energies flickering wildly as its eyes wavered between instincts, bred by instinct, and a faint glimmer of understanding. I could feel Yara's connection strengthening as she guided the pulse, illuminating its memories even further. Suddenly, the chamber filled with a blinding flash of light, and the creatures shrieked in confusion, disbanding momentarily, creating space for reflection. In that sacred pause, a wave of enlightenment surged through me. The lost legacy isn't about what was, I breathed. It's about what is, about breaking cycles. We must do better. With sudden unity, Darrow stepped forward, weapon lowered as he faced the creature directly. "We are not here to judge you. We seek to understand, just as you seek your own answers. The choices that shaped us don't need to define what we become." The creature's stance trembled. Motionless for a heartbeat, it peered into the very soul of our intentions. A testament to betrayal and hope, madness and growth. Yara adjusted her focus, mind weaving through the emotional tapestry. "Feel it. Your bond is with something far greater than anger. Join us. We can restore not only your legacy, but ours too." And with those words, the energy shifted. The creature paused, contemplating its position amidst newfound clarity emerging from the maelstrom. I could feel the walls of the vault vibrating in harmony as identities intertwined, promises made anew. In that moment, an infinitesimal shard of time, I saw the beginnings of change. Redemption birthed from the very remnant shadows that had threatened us. The chamber expanded, resonating with the energy of generations past, lending strength against the striving darkness that loomed just beyond. As the creatures swayed, merging back into the light, a new path unfurled where chaos once stretched its claws. Shimmering strands of history wove among us, revealing forgotten tales that, once shared, promised growth. Not as enemies, I said, but as allies. And as the declaration formed, I understood our legacy and purpose remained clear. We were walking the line between knowledge and responsibility, forever marked by the consequences of our actions. With the past whispering behind, and the future teeming with uncharted possibilities, we would stride forward, fear no longer standing in our way. Together, we would carve a new legacy, one where lessons learned turned into bridges uniting paths once broken into ash and smoke. We would be the ones to honor not merely the Selthorian mark, but the profound potential threaded through our own histories, rewriting narratives interwoven with hope. Reclaimed, we advanced into possibilities beyond the veil, empowered to face the world that awaited. And like the spirits rising from the ashes, we emerged together. Each new day, a testament to the strength of our combined legacies, navigating toward the dawn of a future reborn. The echoes of ancient legacies vibrated through the chamber as we emerged, shoulder to shoulder, facing the uncertainty ahead. The creatures that had once threatened us now faded into the fabric of the vault, memories tethered by a new understanding. We were no longer just seekers of knowledge, we were carriers of hope, poised to rewrite our destinies and those intertwined with the Selthorian legacy. As I stepped forward, an electric pulse of energy coursed through my fingertips, resonating with the remnants of the Selthorian technology. I could feel the whispers of history urging us onward, guiding our steps in this dark and twisted realm. We had unearthed hidden truths, and now we had to ensure they did not perish alongside the ruins of the past. "Where do we go now?" Yara murmured, her voice steady despite the tremors still thrumming in the air. I could see shards of brilliance reflecting in her eyes, light glimmering within the shadows that lay before us. "Somewhere that can help us comprehend everything we've learned," I replied, glancing around the expansive chamber. "The Selthorian's knowledge must still lie hidden among these walls. We have to access it before it slips into oblivion." Darrow, ever analytical, scanned the wall opposite us, where the shimmering energy danced invitingly. "There has to be a control terminal or a gateway to the broader repository. If we can find that, we might unleash the true power of their knowledge together." A hope surged within me, mingling with the remnants of unease. Our encounters with the past had been enlightening, yet they had also unveiled the darkness lurking behind our aspirations. Together, I echoed, making the word a promise etched into our vow. No turning back. We have to tread lightly, aware of the pitfalls this legacy represents. As we ventured deeper, the chamber opened into a vast atrium filled with towering crystalline structures that pulsated with energy. Their shimmer cast beautiful, ever-changing patterns across the space. A living gallery of the past's brilliance. But I could feel the weight of uncertainty. This was not merely a treasure trove of knowledge, but the crossroads of consequence. Look, Yara pointed toward a staircase ascending spirals of light. If we start up there, it might lead us to the central repository, We shared a determined glance, summoning our collective strength as we advanced, the glint of the crystals reflecting the renewed purpose in our hearts. Each step propelled us forward, bridging the chasm between fear and understanding. We climbed, the warm glow encouraging us to forge deeper into the heart of the Selthorian legacy. The steps wound higher, forming a connection to the ceiling, itself a vast mural depicting celestial journeys and ephemeral shadows. Past battles, celebrations, and explorations danced across the surfaces, each image reminding us of the potency of history, always alive yet waiting to be awakened. As we reached the apex, an enormous circular platform spread before us, a control hub radiating with iridescent panels, reminiscent of the intricate designs that adorned the walls of the vault. My heart raced. Here lay the pathway to knowledge long lost and the answers that could alter the course of our destinies. "I'll activate the interface," I said, leading the way with cautious steps on the pulsating surface. "Let's unravel what lies beneath." Darrow stepped beside me, studying the glowing symbols flickering before us. Together, he repeated, echoing the solidarity that had tethered us since our chance meeting. As I initiated the sequence, a rush of energy coursed through my body, the hum of the repository reverberating in the air. Images surged forth, spilling warnings and knowledge time, yielding layers of meaning that wrapped around us, weaving an intricate story of triumph and despair. The accessing data stream connection initiated, a mechanical voice whispered, as brilliant diagrams of Selthorian technology materialized before us, swirling in a dance of colors. A cosmic tapestry of technology and connection. "Look," Yara exclaimed, her voice laced with awe. "It's all here, their discoveries, their wisdom. We can still learn from them." But amidst the bright diagrams swirled images of the catastrophic decisions made in haste, variable conflicts that had spurred the beasts we had just fought, the embodiment of their failures. I could feel the chill of dread creeping into my heart despite the hope swelling inside me. The knowledge we sought could just as easily become our downfall. Paradise. Darrow's voice cut through my reverie. A focus on the data that discusses their societal structures, their tensions. It might reveal how we can avoid the same fate. I nodded, grounding myself as I navigated through the interface. Flow of information streamed endlessly, visions of leaders torn apart, ideology giving rise to factions, alliances disintegrating amid the push for control. Knowledge weighed heavily upon us, each new understanding seeping into my bones, quickening my resolve. "Here," I exclaimed, pointing to an alloyed scroll of text beneath the vibrant display. Insights into the breakdown of their unity, their decisions preceding the collapse, our eyes locked onto the account. I felt a spark of recognition within its context. "The isolation breeds despair, distrust fragments communities," Darrow read aloud, his voice low and somber. "In facing our fears, we must not allow chaos to guide our actions, lest we unearth the monsters hidden within ourselves." Yara's face reflected the weight of truth as the message settled among us. "We need to be vigilant," she murmured, "to find a way to keep communication open, to embrace our differences, strengthen our alliances instead of shunning them." With renewed purpose, I reached forward, activating the next cascade of images and insights. They must have developed measures to combat their fall, strategies to reclaim balance. As the screen flashed with vibrant insights, I couldn't shake the ache of uncertainty nestled in my chest. The pull of our ambitions, the choices ahead, and the decisions we had yet to make. "If we can harness that knowledge," I insisted, "we can transform our society into one that celebrates unity, rather than the shadows that divide us." Above us, the panels shifted, responding to the combined energy of our aspirations, forging a connection that echoed with life. The source of power, a resonance of collective hope entwined, began to bloom within the depths of the chamber. The repository surged with sites of restoration, blueprints of reconciling technology with nature, a fresh promise coursing through the energy we wielded. The potential of their discoveries rekindles the promise of what we too can create. Yara breathed, her eyes aglow with wonder. "We can gift our world with learning, resilience, adaptability," Darrow added, his excitement palpable, but we must carry forth the lessons we have learned here. As I pressed deeper into the luminescence of the repository, the data began shifting again, forming pathways toward new possibilities. It's time to prepare for the future, define how we operate, I asserted, feeling adrenaline surge through my veins. We will not just integrate this knowledge, we will instill the practice of harmonizing our legacies. But before we could dwell on the exhilarating outcome of our mission, the vibrations of the chamber shifted once more, dark shadows gathering at the perimeter. The portal beyond, I gasped, recognizing a threat swelling beneath. The creatures are awakening again. Together, Darrow shouted, drawing his weapon, glancing to Yara and me. We faced them united. With the heartbeat of the past echoing behind us, we stepped forward onto the precipice of conflict. The energies swirling within Fusion Nexus, merging the brilliance of our knowledge with the chaos trying to reclaim our losses. Stand firm, I commanded, facing the emerging shapes. We reclaim the future forged by unity. We are stronger together in the face of our reckoning. And as the terrifying forms began to coalesce, I could feel history's pulse guiding our resolve. I sensed the exhilarating rhythm of bonds formed through the legacy of the Selthorians resonating in our hearts. It was a powerful reminder. We carried the weight of responsibility, poised to step into the dawn of a new tomorrow. The chamber, filled with luminescent energy, coalescing into a wall of vibrant light as our presence countered the encroaching darkness. We would rise, embodying the legacy we sought, standing against the shadows unleashed by fear, not merely to defend ourselves, but to reclaim our rightful place in the universe. As the threshold approached, I drew in a deep breath, prepared to face whatever horrors transpired and whatever specters lingered. As we charged forward, light breaking through the darkness, resolve lit a path through the uncertainty, guiding us toward what awaited beyond. Together, we would not just witness the legacy of the Selthorians, we would become its stewards, a testament to the interconnectedness of our histories, and brave enough to face the future anew united as allies, ready to reclaim a legacy defined by unity, purpose, and hope. As the metallic walls of the Nexus quivered under the weight of the awakening shadows, I felt our shared resolve ignite a fire within me. Together, we had unearthed the truth of the Selthorian downfall, but now we faced the manifestation of that darkness. The creatures, embodying fear and despair, surged toward us with a merciless hunger. "Stay focused," I shouted, rallying Yara and Darrow as the brunt of the creature onslaught began to close in around us. The radiant energy from the repository pulsed behind us, an unseen ally and a reminder of the legacy we carried. The hope igniting in the dark. The interface before us glimmered tantalizingly, yearning for our commanded will just as the future awaited our decisive action. The lead creature, its eyes glimmering with a dark, intelligent hunger, bounded forward, muscles coiling beneath its torn skin. Instinctively, I raised my weapon, but Yara's voice crackled through the chaos. "Wait," she cried out. "That energy may disrupt things uniquely. Let me try to channel its vibrations." Her declaration pulled me from the brink of panic. With a nod, I stepped back, readying my plasma charger. The last thing we needed was to spark chaos that could endanger our own lives. Yara advanced toward the interface, her hands weaving through the patterns of light, summoning the knowledge of the Selthorians they had left behind. "Join me," she commanded, her voice firm and unwavering as she began to draw from the pulsing energy that flowed from the repository. Darrow and I flanked her, weapons poised to defend and shield against the horrors emerging from the shadows. Together, we formed a try, at the synergy of our will rippling into the air like a resonant melody in the darkening space. Yara closed her eyes, focusing intently as vibrant energies flowed around her like an ethereal cocoon. "I can feel their history," she whispered, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's like echoes of their pain. They're trapped. They don't want to wreak havoc. They were abandoned." I peered past the threshold of the glowing panel, visions cascading in a mesmerizing pattern. The creatures snarled, terror and rage distilled into localized pressure radiating around us. "Break the cycle," Idero shouted, taking my cue, firing into the swarm of beasts that threatened to engulf us. Each bolt of energy struck true. Each thud of a creature hitting the ground sent ripples of determination through me. Channel the energy, a bridge. I called to Yara, it will form a pathway for understanding. With renewed focus, Yara opened her eyes, catching my gaze. We can reach them. If this repository contains remnants of their consciousness, we have a chance to connect. She raised her arms, channeling the light from the repository. Its power vibrated through our very beings. Colors swirled through the air, glimmering paths unfurling at the command of our collective wills. Together, Yara cried, pulling our energies in line with the onslaught. We blocked the creature's advance, our united essence breaking the veil that separated us. The chamber shifted, new pathways emerged as a luminous barrier formed. The creatures halted momentarily, caught in the pulse of shimmering light, a sudden tether of understanding mingling with their primal instincts. Seizing the opportunity, I unleashed a cry toward the creatures. "We can help you. You don't have to be bound by the darkness that consumed you." With Yara's energy at the forefront, we braved the instinctual growl of the chaos, pouring memories, illuminating the similarity between us. The creatures twisted, their expressions shifting as the magic of connection began to seep through the air. One creature, larger than the others, took a step forward, hesitating just before the light. It paused, its hollow eyes reflecting beautifully chaotic memories, visions of a civilization torn apart by greed and ambition. Hints of recognition sparking unbidden behind their feral shells. "Feel their history, their pain," Yara urged, reaching toward it, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Let it guide you to something greater than the fight. We can reclaim what was lost together." The merging of energies pushed back the storm of enmity that festered around us, illuminating the opaque darkness, cloaking memories once forgotten. As the waves expanded, the realized pain broke bonds those once tethered to regret, now becoming catalysts of transformation. With the amassed strength of the interface glowing brighter, I witnessed the flicker of hope, bordering on insatiable hunger, now linked to compassion. The larger beast trembled as images of Selthorians battling chaos flickered above us, fluid diagrams of tech glimpses merging with their own history. But this time a light cast upon the path worthy of reclamation. Together, Chinese letter shouted, feeling a raw connection course through our bond. "Illuminate your path." The being took another step, and as it did, the energies spiraled upward. A dazzling lattice formed, growing stronger as our breaths fused with the vibrations of existence around us. Surrounding creatures hesitated, caught between instinct and the tendrils of understanding wrapped around the tumultuous edges of their memories. In an instant, the swirling chaos halted, the eyes of the creatures reflecting our intent. And not as enemies, but as kindred. Yara's voice resonated defiantly as the ethereal barrier enveloped them, the language shared through the energies of our revelations. As colors resonated in a rhythmic dance, a surge of connected empathy rippled from the repository, linking our thoughts with theirs. I witnessed their bonds unfold, raw emotions surging forth like a dam breaking. A cascade of memories that belonged to something greater, forged in heart and spirit. An undeniable collective memory kicked into view, their leaders clashing, torn by factions of fear and desperation as the echoes of chaos clawed at their perception of self. "We are more than fear," I breathed, the words entwined with our energies. "We can unite the shadows of our past and redefine our legacies. You can redefine yours." The giant creature staggered, its jaws parting in a low growl, evolving into a mournful cry. The rest followed suit, synchronizing their energies with ours, a loud rumble echoing the connected understanding we fought to ignite. Together, we yelled, hearts ignited. Light surged forward, enveloping the creatures in a warm embrace, a sacred ceremony of unity. In acceptance, the darkness transforms. I felt my spirit soar. We were solidifying something that had been lost for centuries. With a chorus of renewed understanding, the dark beings moved closer, drawn to the ethereal energies pouring out from us. The barrier held steady, radiant connections shimmering brightly, undeterred by chaos. "Embrace your past to forge our future," Yara exclaimed, summoning the strength of our unified hopes. "Learn from the shadows. The light emerges only through acceptance. Together, we can bring balance to those that tread the cycle of despair." As their energies coalesced with ours, the creatures began to transform. Sharp teeth elongated, their forms shifting toward beautiful threads of raw emotion, woven seamlessly with the heritage of the Selthorians' legacy. The shadows took form, speaking their shared histories, threading memories of anguish but illuminated by a rising dawn. The chamber pulsated with travail, each flicker emphasizing legacies once marred by destruction, but now reclaiming their truths. "Let the past define us no longer," Darrow roared, his voice echoing like thunder as he raised his weapon one last time. Not as a harbinger of doom, but as a testament of change, urging all to join in unity. The chamber trembled as creatures converged, melding desires coalescing into something splendid and indomitable. Their eyes gradually brightened as if awakening from nightmares. A dawn awakening not of terror, but of kinship unveiled, gentle connections lifting them from shadows. As the last remnants of darkness dissipated before our eyes, we stood together aptly cast in light, shields lowered. The creatures transformed fully, ethereal beings now radiated purity, wisdom glimmering within. They had transitioned from the monstrous remnants of despair into allies unified in newfound purpose. "Come forth," I cried, calling to those incomprehensible energies. "Let us define this moment, the legacy we craft together." With newfound resolve, we embraced the creatures' shades of identity intertwining with us, healing bonds restored. In an indelible act of reclamation, we would pursue new beginnings, tracing arcs of understanding throughout our worlds. A fusion of legacies ignited into light. The nexus twinkled around us, refracting the vibrations of hope, promising challenges ahead but cloaked in faith, transcending ancient mistakes. Beyond the chamber, we would find our path, secure in the legacy we reshaped together. With the dawn on the horizon, our collective breaths merged, a magnificent symphony of purpose flooding through us, forging a united spirit that would echo through eternity. And it was here, amidst the surreal splendor of navigating the remnants of history sparks of the heart, where we claimed our right to reclaim and reshape the future. The embers of our legacy woven, irreversibly woven into the cosmos, forging a tale transcending the universe itself. The shimmering light of the nexus enveloped us, a dazzling contrast to the darkness we had just emerged from. As the pulses of energy coalesced around us, I felt the very essence of creation buzzing in the air, a promise of innovation afloat amidst cautionary tales of the past. "Where do we go now?" Yara asked, her voice filled with a blend of excitement and trepidation. "We take what we've learned here and share it," I replied, looking at both Darrow and Yara. "The Selthorians fell because they became ensnared by their fear and mistrust. It's time we forge bonds instead." Darrow stepped forward, crossing his arms as he mulled it over. "But how do we ensure they won't betray us again? Knowledge is power, and power can corrupt." I nodded, frustration and determination flickering within me. Memories of the fallen Selthorian leaders echoed in my mind, their faces a haunting reminder of how ambition could twist into chaos when left unchecked. "We will create alliances, share knowledge but do so carefully, ensuring mutual respect and understanding. We must also cultivate strength through unity across our own ranks." Yara and Darrow exchanged a glance, their uncertainty palpable yet softened by the fire ignited in our shared purpose. "We need to gather those who believe in the vision we've forged," Yara proposed. "Together, we can construct a network built upon trust, fostering understanding with the remnants of the Selthorian legacy." I contemplated her words. It means reaching out to others, to those who have also been touched by the shadows of this conflict. Old wounds must heal through communication and collaboration. Before we could delve deeper into our plans, a tremor shook the nexus, causing the crystals to shimmer ominously. "Something's happening," Darrow said, his voice tense. "The connections we've made are unstable. We need to stabilize it before it collapses," I shouted, urgency surging through me as the repository's light flickered. "We have to harness the energy before it's lost." Yara's eyes widened, confidence igniting in her expression. "I can interface with the Nexus again. If I can amplify the energy being generated, we can prevent it from collapsing." "Do it," I commanded, urgency fueling my words. "Darrow and I will hold off whatever is coming." Yara hurried back to the control hub, jogged into position, and began concentrating, fingers poised over the interface like a pianist before a grand symphony. Darrow and I positioned ourselves between her and the doorway, scanning the shadows that were beginning to churn through the chamber once more. We felt the weight of shadows shifting, potent with malice and desperation. "I can hear them," Darrow murmured as he focused intently, easing his grip on his weapon but still ready. "The remnants deep within creatures of the past. We have to strengthen this bond," I replied, adrenaline pumping as the sounds of growls and muted whimpers articulated from the shadows. "Yara, are you ready?" "Almost. I can feel it building," she said, her voice unwavering. Her determination was infectious. "Just hold them off." As the creatures pierced the veil, their dark forms coalescing into malevolent silhouettes, I gripped my plasma charger tighter, adrenaline surging once more. I glanced at Darrow, who mirrored the same unwavering resolve. "Let's show them they can't intimidate us, together," he affirmed, synchronizing his breath with mine. The creatures surged, emerging from the shadows and snarls that vibrated the air. My heart raced as I fired the first shot, and explosions of radiant energy lit up the chamber like fireworks, blinding flashes illuminating the monstrous faces twisted in rage. "Keep moving," I shouted, stepping back as the barrage of creatures collided around us. "We need to push them away. Yara's connection is vital." Darrow and I struck as one, each movement fluid, a dance between life and death, rooted in unity. I could hear the repository vibrating, as if echoing our resolve in counterpoint to what threatened to unravel. Around us, the creatures snarled, a wicked symphony of chaos unfolding against the brilliance of our combined efforts. Yara's voice rose from the chaos, threading through the symphony and harmonizing beautifully with the combat. Energized, she expressed the building power, weaving it back into the connection with the Nexus. "Just a little more," she urged, the flow of data swelling through the screens behind her, the colors swirling rhythmically to our united will. "More energy," I cried. "We must break through." Darrow released a burst of plasma, sending a creature careening back into the shadows. I followed suit, striking at anything that dared approach, determined to protect Yara's sacred task at all costs. "Keep pushing," Darrow shouted, slicing through the oncoming tide. His energy echoed through me, invigorating my strength as we maintained focus, every blast a testament to our unity and purpose. "Feel the vibrations around you, connecting, almost there," Yara shouted, her voice rising above the turmoil. Deftly dodging another attack, I rallied, focusing on the creature's movements. "They're reacting. They know we're no longer afraid." With each command and surge of energy from Yara, the Nexus awakened, illuminating the chamber with vibrant cascades emanating from her core. The barriers fended off the chaos, light reaching to soothe the tormented remnants facing us. Suddenly, as one creature lunged forward, I pivoted sharply, letting a burst of energy fly. It collided with the offending beast, illuminating its distorted features with an unexpected vulnerability. My heart raced, intrigued by the sudden shift. "Yara," I shouted, "use that, amplify it." The moment crystallized. The creature hesitated, and within that instant I felt something ancient resonate, an understanding echoing from beyond. They can sense it. Their ties they need to reconnect. "I'm channeling it," Yara confirmed, fingers dancing across the interface, laboring to tighten the energy currents as the repository responded, its output reaching a crescendo. "Just hold them off a little longer." Darrow and I fought side by side, weapons raised high, luminous sparks flying around us like stars igniting. The creatures continue to surge, a wild cacophony of ferocity. They clash together, battering each other, desperate beings caught in chaos. Don't relent, I yelled, the fire of determination igniting my core. Rekindle their hope. The sounds grew louder, rising into a chorus that reverberated through every fiber of my being. I sensed the connection Yara was creating, the barrier of energy pulsing as it wrapped around the creatures, offering a glint of the possibility of redemption within the waves of confusion around us. There, Yara pointed. It's responding, it's feeling your energy, push. With the last outburst from Yara, a radiant wave surged past us. A stream of incandescent light flooded the chamber, washing over the creatures. And as the illumination engulfed them, the beasts flinched, their snarls fading into whimpers as understanding pierced their hearts. The repository vibrated wildly, transforming the chaos into luminous pathways. Threads of glowing connection drew from the shadows and into the light surrounding us. Together, I cried, feeling the energy bond unite us deeper than simply reliance. It infused us with an unbreakable communion. The creatures, once hideous embodiments of fear, began to reshape, their forms shifting in resonance with the cascading light. Grotesque features softened, vigor morphed into a realization. They were responding to our call, connected. Yara shouted, joy intertwined with astonishment. They can feel that there's a chance. And as claws receded, the beasts slowly transformed before our eyes. A glimmering symphony of their former selves weaving into beings of light. The lingering shadows that had once threatened us morphed into beautiful essences, an affirmation of ancient power embedded with hope. Push through, Darrow urged, breathing heavily, energized by the shift. We can bring peace here. With a final surge, the network pulsed brilliantly, illuminating the chamber in its entirety. We stood surrounded by beings who had once only known rage, finding community and unity amid past failures. Their eyes shimmered with the burgeoning flame of understanding rekindled in their souls. Together, I shouted again, reaching out. We are a part of this legacy. Together, we'll forge a different future. In that powerful moment, the connection with the Nexus reached its pinnacle, the radiance extending outward, beyond the confines of the chamber, resonating into the universe itself. The voices of the Selthorian legacy unified into a vibrant hymn, a promise to uphold our shared histories not as burdens but as foundations upon which we could rebuild. As the chamber settled around us, the raw energy transformed into a tranquil hum, a subtle reminder of what we had achieved together. A flicker of light shone through the entrance to the Nexus, and I turned toward it. Whatever awaited us beyond those shimmering borders, I felt resolute. We were no longer destined to travel this path alone. The spirits of the Selthorians, intertwined with those who now stood with us, would echo through time and space, guiding us toward the future we were destined to forge together. Onward, I commanded as we stepped together into the brightening horizon. Ready to illuminate our worlds anew, hearts entwined, legacies reclaimed, poised to confront whatever awaited with collective strength. The blinding light from the Nexus intensified, casting shimmering reflections across the chamber as we stepped forward into the heart of what awaited us. The creatures, the awakened remnants of the Selthorian legacy, now solidified as allies, stood poised alongside us, embodying both the history we carried and the future we were about to unlock. With hearts brimming with purpose and apprehension, we crossed the threshold together, unified as a force powerful enough to reshape the narrative we had inherited. What lay beyond the Nexus was like nothing I'd ever seen, a vast expanse outside the chamber, stretching infinitely, streaks of light illuminating pathways that crisscrossed the cosmos. It was a vast repository of all knowledge, a celestial archive of possibilities. Every thread of history is interwoven within this space, Yara whispered, awe tinging her voice. She reached out, her fingers trailing along the radiant paths, absorbing the energy that pulsed beneath. This is where our potential lies, the very essence of creation, rebirth, and togetherness. The waves of understanding washed over me. Beneath the surface of our tumultuous history lay an uncharted realm filled with brilliance awaiting our discovery. Turning to face my friends, I could see the flickers of light dancing in their eyes, a testament to the unity we had built against the threats of the past. Darrow, ever the strategist, stepped forward, his brow furrowed as he calibrated his thoughts into palpable aspirations. If this repository holds the knowledge of not just the Selthorians but all who have ever sought the light, we must harness it. We have a chance to shape not just our world, but the entire fate of civilization scattered in the cosmic winds. I nodded, feeling a swell of determination rising. We can connect with others, forge alliances, learn from their triumphs, and avoid their mistakes. We won't let fear dictate our choices any longer. The creatures, now luminous beings emanating hope and understanding, shifted closer. Their eyes reflected empathy and curiosity, eager to bond not just with us, but with the vast universe that awaited. We'll guide each other, I said, instinctively reaching out to one of them, a shimmering figure that had once stood as a feral monster, now radiating wisdom. Together, we'll help you reclaim your legacies, just as we reclaim ours. A rush of energy pulsed between us, a communion of purpose threading together, invoking the legacy of the Selthorians as we learn to combat the darkness that threatened our existence. The harmony rippling through us sang like starlight against the backdrop of the cosmos, as the repository swirled to life around us. Activate the pathways, Yara urged, diving into the explosion of possibilities unfurling before us. As she initiated the command, images flared across our vision. Cosmic maps, blueprints of endless innovations, connections spanning the universe, together with shadows lingering on the fringes. Each illuminated thread traced possibilities that spanned lifetimes and civilizations long past. We can learn from the diverse worlds, Darrow said, examining a glowing star map that materialized before us. We'll reach out through these connections, establishing an alliance that celebrates both knowledge and the essence of who we are. With every interaction, as fingers traced the threads of knowledge, I could feel the heaviness of the past lifting, clinging tight to the light that sustained our hopes. This was not solely about preserving legacies. It was an ongoing conversation about reconciliation and growth, about joining together to face whatever shadows dared emerge. Ready? I asked, meeting the gazes of Yara, Darrow, and our newfound allies. They nodded, their spirits intertwined with a shared commitment. The time for action had come. Let's build our future, I declared, planting my feet firmly as Yara concentrated on the interface once more. A magnetic pulse radiated across the chamber, awakening the energies around us as conduits of possibility surged through the pathways. Light burst forth, connecting us to locations scattered across the universe, a network of souls intertwined by aspirations, not just those of the Selthorians, but remnants of civilizations seeking redemption, connection, and hope. What now? Yara questioned, her excitement palpable amidst the energy around us. Now we forge alliances, Darrow exclaimed, reaching forward. Let each world harbor their stories, bring them to this repository. Let this light illuminate the hearts of those who have been lost. The resonance of our collective actions surged, urging reflections from distant worlds as the energy pulsed outward, seeking the willing. Glimmering lights flickered to life as we unlocked connections, expanding our reach beyond the constraints of our history. As understanding forged paths between the disparate communities, I felt the anticipation of what was to come, a cosmic renaissance rooted in collaboration and unity. Together, I reaffirmed, authority rippling through my voice, we'll weave new ties, letting our legacies entwine. Today marks the dawn of not just our alliance, but the celestial tapestry we will create. As bonds fused between our intentions and the radiant entities surrounding us, the repository brightened into an iridescent aura, sending waves of hope cascading across the void, the chaos that had once enshrouded us now rising to clarity. The essence of the Selthorian legacy pulsed through this newfound mission, threading hopes of worlds behind us as well as beyond. Out against the backdrop of the cosmos, we ventured into uncharted paths, a united front walking toward the horizon of connection, an intricate tapestry of histories reclaiming their rightful place. Let our voices unify, I intoned as we cast our hopes into the starlit sky, the lattice of light swirling vigorously before us. Let them be heard across the stones of time and space, until harmony weaves into the fabric of existence. Emboldened by our quest, we advanced, become vessels for the luminous legacy we now carried within us, a legacy defined not merely by the past, but by the paths we would carve forward, hand in hand, with infinite possibility illuminating our way. With our hearts beating in unison, we plunged into the expanses of the cosmos ready to face every challenge, allowing the whispers of the Selthorian's legacy to guide our futures, vibrating with purpose. Today, we discovered not only our potential but a glimmering connection that would echo across the ages, promising renewal amid adversity and love amid loss. The light stretched onward, beckoning, daring us to explore the entire landscape of possibility. And as we titled the first chapter of our rebirth, we understood we were not alone. The entirety of history surrounded us, coalesced into a beautiful dance of hope, guided by the flame of collective legacy. In that moment, we stepped into the light together, ready to weave the tapestry of not just our survival, but radiance reshaped, breathing life into the futures awaiting our arrival. And at that moment, beneath the expanse of the universe, we became more than ourselves. We became the custodians of a legacy transformed, united in purpose, and ready to illuminate infinite horizons.